Actresses Ellen Pompeo and Taraji P. Henson got candid about the gender pay gap in Hollywood. Take a look.
Can I ask,
Yes.
were you and Patrick getting paid the same in the beginning?
Not when we started. In the beginning, absolutely not. No.
Oh, so did you ever become Favorite Nations?
We became Favored Nations, I would say season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah, he was being paid almost double what I was being paid for in the beginning. But the interesting thing about that is that, you know, he had a television quote.
Yeah.
I had never done TV.
I know.
So
I know that story.
Yes, I didn't
Get
have.
me, Jib.
I didn't have a TV quote.
Yeah,
So that's
I
what
heard
they
that.
said. Well,
Is there wine in this cup?
He's done 13 pilots. Well, none of them have gone.
I'm sorry.
But I don't understand why, but okay.
Exactly.
You know, but I didn't even realize that until we were renegotiating season 3, and this is when I found out that information. No one was offering that up.
Right.
Here to chat about this is the host of In Case You Missed It by HuffPost, Heather Gardner.
Hey, happy Friday. You guys always bring out the good stuff.
We always have treats for you.
Yes, thank you.
So I love this video, one, because I love both of these actresses. I watch both of their shows, and you don't understand what they're going through behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So what do you think it means for them to disclose, even for these highly successful women, that they still struggle with this gender pay gap?
Well, I love that they're just talking about it, because we don't talk about it. I mean, it's an awkward thing to talk about money, especially for women. And to bring it up to your boss is a whole other thing, to bring it up to your spouse, to bring it up to your friends.
Yeah.
We don't talk about money. So the fact that they are just willing to just share it all, when Ellen Pompeo announced that she's making $20 million, I was like, yes!
I know.
Because we should be able and we should feel comfortable to talk about not only our salaries, but like the issues behind all of that.
Right, but she did admit that in the beginning, Patrick Dempsey was making twice what she was making, and it took until season 3 for that to be corrected. Why do you think it took so long?
I mean, well, society and the way that it is, you know. I mean, she said that Patrick Dempsey was a name, and she even brought it up that he had all these credits, even though none of them even were in television, and she was relatively new.
Yeah,
right.
She didn't have a TV.
Right, she didn't know, and that's I think that's a lot of it comes down to like what you don't know within your industry and what you think you can't say, and we get this complex too with women, and Jennifer Lawrence has talked about this, how you don't want to seem difficult, you don't want to seem like you're complaining.
Greedy.
Yes, greedy, and you just are grateful to be in this position. Ellen said that towards the end, that she just felt so grateful and didn't want to appear any other way, and it's just like, you can feel grateful and also get what you're worth.
Well, that's what Taraji sort of mentioned. She gave, Terrence Howard his credit, but also said, when I realized what my character was doing, her impact on the culture, then I asked for what I was worth.
Absolutely.
And I think a key quote Ellen says is, closed mouths don't get fed. And we're seeing that now with women and in politics and media and entertainment, that they're speaking up for a variety of reasons.
Absolutely.
But the ability to speak up and ask for more money, because they've been taught, don't talk about money, don't ask for more.
Yep.
So Ellen just saying to go to your showrunner and be like, I want to make more,
right,
is a big thing.
And the fact that they waited, both of these women had to wait for a specific time. It was season 3 for Ellen. It was season, she didn't know. Yes, she didn't know if it was 2 or 3 for her. But the fact that they had to go to their bosses and say, look, these are the reasons why. It's so difficult for us women to do that, and that burden falls on us to like prove it, and that's kind of what Kamala Harris is kind of combating now. Because we're not just talking about this in Hollywood. It's great that we have these beautiful women, these powerful, successful women talking about it, but we're also talking about it where it counts too. In Washington, we have Kamala trying to shift the burden off of us women and onto the companies to prove that they're actually paying women and men the same.
Right, and Kamala's gender pay gap plan would require companies with more than 100 employees to disclose how much they're paying them to the Equal Opportunity Commission.
Can we clap for that? That would be amazing.
Right, so tell us about the significance of that, the importance of that.
Well, the first thing that's significant is, again, like the shifting of the burden, because as Kamala has said over and over again, like when you realize that something's wrong, you get an inkling that something's wrong, because we don't talk about it, so it's just a feeling you have that you're not being paid equally to the man sitting next to you, or in the industry not getting paid what you're worth, and you have to be the one to go to your boss and bring it up, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. Pressure's off.
Right.
Now the companies have to go in and say, nope, actually we are doing what's correct. And I think also just transparency, because like I said, we don't talk about it as a society, and it's really difficult when you're navigating jobs, of course, is to realize, am I getting enough? Is to think, am I getting enough? How do I bring this up to my boss? I have had so many anxieties and so much stress dealing with money. And if it was just published out there, that would be so much more beneficial to everyone, not just remove gender altogether. It's for everyone to realize what you're worth within your own job.
Well, we've seen some tech companies, one employee will start a Google Doc and everybody goes in. And I think that was a couple years ago. And now we're seeing companies take the lead, but it started with employees saying, we need this, we want this.
Absolutely. And another thing too is like, it's great that some of these companies are taking initiative, but bottom line is they don't want to do that because the second they do, it's like everybody's going to come knocking on the door being like, let me get my pay, let me get my due. But Kamala is penalizing companies who won't do that. And that's really, really significant in her plan too, is to penalize companies if there is a gender pay gap, if there is that discrepancy within the same job, the same background, the same education, if there is a discrepancy, she's going to penalize them 1% of their daily profits per 1% of discrepancy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing not to love about this, really.
That's an attorney general looking at this. But
That's right.
What also so great about Kamala, because she's doing this with guns as well, she's not afraid to use executive action. So if Congress doesn't pass it, she's going to look at companies trying to work with the federal government and say, you're not going to be able to if you don't comply with these rules. So I think it's impressive.
Very presidential.
Very presidential.
I'm about to say, the president does that all the time. He just signs the documents. Sure, let's sign some documents. Let's get this done, right?
Let's do it.
I'm here for it. I really am. I'm just glad that the conversation is shifting and that it's okay. We see these successful women talking about it. It makes me feel like it's okay to come on a couch with you guys over donuts and just chat about this kind of stuff. That's what I love the most.
Well, I feel like at first it doesn't seem like a lot, the pay gap, like it's a couple thousand, but then as you get older, when you're like 60, it could be up to $1 million.
And we've talked about this too, how for women, the gender pay gap just widens and widens because of the burden of children, you know, that society has put mostly on women here in this, you know, in America. So it's something that we need to go on full force. I'm glad that Kamala Harris is taking that step, really.
Yes.
Amen.
Ladies, speak up, speak up, speak
up.
up. Heather, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
And you can catch In Case You Missed It by HuffPost on HuffPost.com and Yahoo's Roku channel.